5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
Happy Halloween, everybody. 4 o'clock on your radio dials. It's 2 o'clock if you're joining us on the live streams. We have to go a little early on Thursdays so that I can get linked up with Coach Logan and make sure he's all good. So if you're listening on our radio station, please stay tuned in for the Logan Zone, which will begin at 5 o'clock as always. And we hope you guys are all ready for an exciting Halloween special. I'm Philip Pilkington filling in for the P-Man. We have Dom Kasulki producing, and we will be joined in our second segment by the former voice of Pirate Baseball, Scott Rogers, and he will give us an update on what's going on with him down in Warner Robins, Georgia, as well as talk a little World Series and the aftermath of the Dodgers defeating the New York Yankees. Elsewhere in Pirate Nation, obviously a bye week, so not a lot to tell you about. We do have a press conference tomorrow morning with Mike Schwartz ahead of the Pirate basketball season opener, so you can see that in video platform. Of course, on our YouTube page, we will share the links on X and Facebook, so if you want to hear any comments from Schwartz. And then also a reminder that Mike Schwartz was on Hoist the Colors earlier today, and that is archived on the IBX Media app, 943thegame.com, and all of our streaming platforms, as well as we got Jay Shane Woodard was in, and we also got a Team Boneyard update with Hank Hinton in the second half of that show, and just kind of what's going on in the world of Team Boneyard as the portal is right around the corner in college football, obviously. So, one last thing, yes. The women's soccer team will be in action tonight. Final home game of the 2024 campaign for the women's soccer team, as they are still vouching for some seating spots as it relates to the conference tournament. They will be hosting Rice at 7 o'clock. Reminder that admission is free all season long inside Johnson Stadium. So we'd like to thank you all for tuning in, and we would like to say happy Halloween to our producer, Dom Kasulki.
Happy Halloween. I'm pumped, man. This mic is too short for how tall I am, unfortunately. But
no, I love the view.
I can hold it up
a
little
there
bit.
You go.
I'll hold it up a little bit.
You can put the mic down and just like portray your voice louder than you normally would, and just have no voice by the end of the show. So it's your choice. Hold the mic or have no voice.
I feel kind of professional when I hold the mic like this. I kind of like it. But it's Happy Halloween. It's ECU Halloween. It's Halloween weekend. Nothing can get better than that. If you go to ECU, you know that. If you were at ECU, you know that. So just a great weekend, and really a great week in general.
Yeah, so speaking of Halloween weekend at ECU, how appropriate is it that there's no football game at all?
I kind of wish there was a football game. Not that I really want to work it right now, but, the atmosphere after winning a football game on Halloween weekend would be pretty insane.
That's true.
But I also like the fact that you don't have to work and you get it off, and the students, they can go tailgate pre-gaming instead of tailgating a football game. So it's a great essence in itself.
The tough part for me, why I wanted them to be on the road or not have a game Halloween weekend when I was a student, was because I always had friends who didn't go to ECU that wanted to come in town for ECU Halloween.
Yeah.
And it was I got to get all these extra tickets, and me and everybody else also needs extra tickets, and it just kind of became a pain in the rear end. I remember my freshman year, I'm pretty sure they were on a bye, or if they would, it was like a junky road game. And, it kind of worked out. I had some friends come from back home, and we had a good weekend. So, you got any fun plans this weekend, Dom?
Yeah, might be going out tonight with my girlfriend. Got some kind of pirate costume going on. It was kind of last minute. Went to Spirit Halloween. It was packed, but I found the cheapest pirate costume I could, which is still $40, which is kind of insane. I think the cheapest actual costume there is around that price. Saw some costumes for $70 to $80, but yeah, should be going out tonight, maybe Saturday night as well. I don't really want to miss the football game, but my fantasy team will live without me watching it.
There you go. Well, at least, hey, you'll be up by 1 o'clock Sunday. There is a game tonight, but
that's true.
Yeah. Who do your boys play Sunday? I know we're doing our NFL segment later.
Yeah, Sunday night football against the Colts. We'll talk about that more in depth later, about how I feel about Anthony Richardson benching and everything.
All right, and we'll talk about that 425 game on Fox between the two teams you probably dislike the most right now, the Lions and the Packers. So
I'm excited for that one. That should be game of the week, I'd say.
I think it is. I think it's the 425 Fox game of the week. My mom and sister are going to that one.
Oh,
so
wow. That's
exciting. They're ditching Panthers Saints to go to Falcon or to go to Packers Lions. Like, oh yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I don't know how much I can blame them for that one.
Alrighty. Well, speaking of Halloween, Dom, and you're gonna be a pirate. My favorite Halloween costume I ever got to be was I went to a Halloween party. It was not on Halloween night. It was a few days before, in 2013, and got to wear Big Poppy stuff during Game 2 of the 2013 World Series, which was great until Will Millbrooks got called for interference, and they walked it off on a interference call, which was terrible. So we lost, but won the series over William, who's not here to defend himself, St. Louis Cardinals. So what's your favorite Halloween costume so far, Dom?
Favorite Halloween costume, just in general ever? Or
that you've worn, yeah.
That I've worn. Wow, that's a tough one. I think I embarrassed myself. This is my favorite embarrassment, I guess. High school, I went to like my first Halloween party as Where's Waldo.
Oh, gosh.
And there was like the red and stripes. I had the beanie on and everything. I had the glasses. I looked so nerdy. It was a fun time, but I embarrassed myself. But I really like that outfit. Don't think I'd fit in it anymore. I think I've grown just a tad bit. But it's still at my house somewhere. I love that costume as much as it embarrasses me thinking about it, and I can tell it's making you laugh.
So you were not 6'3" in high school?
No, I was not. I hit a growth spurt coming into senior year. It's when nobody was seeing me because we were all locked up for COVID. So everyone's like, oh, wow, you got tall now. I got better at basketball, so I'm intramural legend here at ECU now.
I hate you, Dom.
Why
I haven't grown since 7th grade.
7th grade.
Yeah,
well,
I
you're
think
still pretty tall.
I'm 5'9". I'm not pretty tall.
I thought you were 5'11".
No.
Least. Okay.
Actually,
well.
I'm 5'8"3/4. I just tell people I'm 5'9". I'm if I was any shorter, I would technically be short. I'm as short as you can be without being called short. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think I was like 5'7.5" in the 7th grade, which was really great because I was the second tallest player on the basketball team, and I could beat anybody in any jump ball situation in middle school football, and yeah, I've had pretty good post moves, but you can't be a post player at 5'9". So, whole basketball career just got ruined. Guess I should have learned to dribble and shoot, but I developed post moves. So,
well, you were better at football, right?
Yeah, I was probably best at baseball when you really think about it. But football. Football. The problem was I wasn't fast enough to be great. I had great hands. I could block. I needed to run a 4.4. I would have actually been the best at cross country. I just hated running. I actually have decent distance running genes.
Who likes running?
My mom.
Well, yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
well, you got yourself into it at some point. You ran some kind of big marathon or 5K?
I ran a half marathon last spring.
It's like the mid-20s life crisis where you start running.
I know, right? I guess you hit one in your early 30s because Steven Igo's running his first half marathon next weekend. So,
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
He had his final long run this morning, and he has not been wanting to toot his own horn and mention it on his show. But as you can see from our background, this is not Hoist Skellers.
Yeah.
And I can talk all the junk about Steven Igo that I want to talk about on this show.
So I'm going to do it, right now.
I'm going to tell everybody that our boy Steven Igo is in fact an athlete. He doesn't just write about athletes; he is one. He's running his first half marathon, and we're all proud of him. He comes in every day starving after his runs, and he's like chowing down food up until I tell him like, "Hey, 30 seconds." But he stays fit, so he's eating healthy. He's a lot healthier than I do. It's probably why he's still running and I'm not. So there's that. So, anyways, Halloween. The Waldo costume. So you did get that. All right, what's your favorite Halloween candy, and what is the most overrated Halloween candy, Dom?
Going with Twix as my favorite. Twix has always been an elite candy pick for me. I'm trying to think of an overrated one. I actually really like Almond Joy, which I think a lot of people hate. So I think that's like it's a out of the blue one. Overrated. Well, what's yours? Give me a second.
Well, overrated or out of the blue one. I like that because it's in a blue wrapper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there he goes. So I love candy, but I also love chocolate too. So it's like whatever I'm craving that time. But as a kid, always I really like caramel. So a Milky Way was always kind of my go-to. And then the most overrated thing is, well, the most overrated thing comes at Easter. It's those nasty peeps. But the most overrated thing at Halloween is definitely candy corn. It's like I can eat like a handful of it. It tastes really good. And then after about one handful, I'm like, it already starts to like make my stomach hurt. I'm like, why am I eating? I don't even know what I'm eating. I'm scared to even know what they make candy corn out of because it's
just sugar and high fructose corn syrup and whatever else is in there. No, I'm not a big fan of those either, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of people say that, though, so I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know. I guess I came up with one now. I would say that, oh, gosh, I'm losing it now. Oh, Crunch. Crunch is probably a little bit overrated for me. I used to like it as a kid, but it's not for me anymore.
So the Crunch candy bars are like whatever, but have you ever gotten the pouch of Crunch where it's the little bites?
Oh,
like
okay, those are different. Those are
so
like
good.
for the movie theaters. Those are amazing.
You can get them you can't buy them at every grocery store. I know like Publix has them. Oh, I love those things.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's good. Is Scooter signed on yet? Because we need to talk some baseball. I feel like we're just blabbing about Halloween. He probably's not on yet, is he?
He is not on. Well,
okay.
You want me to
Nah,
put it on you and get him on?
I text him. It's all good. But, yeah, as we mentioned, Dom and I are going to argue about football. We're going to talk about why his Vikings are slipping. We're going to talk about why my Panthers stink. Actually, there's no reason to talk about why the Panthers stink. Everybody knows why they stink. But Scooter will be on to talk a little baseball here in the next segment, which we're excited about. And Dom and I are excited that our arch rival did not win the World Series, but I will not rub it in as to all you Yankee fans as your Yankees were in it. And our Red Sox, didn't even make the playoffs. However, they totally exceeded expectations in my book this year. But we're going to get into that. We're going to get into who's got the best look moving forward between the Dodgers and the Yankees. Do the Dodgers stand a better chance to repeat, or do the Yankees stand a better chance at a redemption story? So all that and more on the other side. We're going to take a timeout, and we'll come back, and Scott Rogers will join us maybe. Who knows? He hasn't signed on yet. But if not, Dom and I are going to start the conversation. We'll bring Scooter in when he's ready. All that and more on the other side here on the Patrick Johnson Show.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast, Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you. your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Have you noticed he's in his own little happy hour? We're back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This is the Happy Hour program.
Here's the P-Man.
Welcome back into the Patrick Johnson Show. Philip Pilkington filling in for the P-Man. We were joined by Scott Rogers, who I thought was going to link up with us via video, but he's just on the phone. You know, it's not the Patrick Johnson Show without the real Patrick Johnson or his doppelganger, a.k.a. long-lost son, Scott Rogers, who looks just like him. But Scooter's on the phone, so I guess you don't get to see Patrick or his look-alike.
That's not a thing, Philip. That's not a thing.
I think it is.
No. Sources say that that cannot be confirmed, and there is no Johnson DNA in my blood.
Doesn't mean you're not at least his doppelganger, though.
Yeah, true. It's up for discussion.
All right. Well, we can at least get behind that. So, anyways, Scooter, welcome back into the Inner Banks Media Airways for the first time since you left us 1 month ago and packed your bags and moved to the Peach State. Welcome back in, and how are things going for you down there, and are you getting used to the new job?
I am. It's a beautiful day here in middle Georgia, as we call it, but really adjusting to life here. It's been an interesting adjustment, you know, going from a job in radio and doing baseball play-by-play where you're on the go so many times. You never know when a press conference is going to be scheduled, or you've got to come in, you know, at a crazy hour of the day, anything like that, to go into this job, which is this time of year in the Little League season. It's a 9-to-5 job. You know, there might be a little bit of travel here and there, maybe a couple of events on the weekends with umpire clinics and stuff like that, but for the majority of time, this time of year, it's a 9-to-5 job, and so adjusting to that life has certainly been different.
Yeah, so the 9-to-5 sounds nice. Is this 9-to-5 job going to allow you to come back for any football games? You mentioned you might come for some. You missed homecoming because you were down in Gainesville, Florida last week. Are you going to be able to make it up for any of these last two games?
Yes, I will certainly be there for Navy over Thanksgiving, and then more than likely, haven't really told a lot of people, but yes, I will be in town next week for the FAU game coming in Wednesday night, and we'll stay through the weekend. So I will be in Greenville for the next two home games. There we go.
We're looking forward to having you for both of those contests, and looking forward to we at least text every day as part of a group chat, but actually getting to see you in person for the first time since you left. And hopefully we'll get to see you some at Christmas, the IBX Media Christmas party a few days before Christmas. Are you going to make it in for that?
To be determined. I've got to look at dates and figure some things out. I'm going to try to make it work, but TBD. Obviously, the Inner Banks Christmas party is obviously a big time for us in that company. So it's certainly a fun night, and being able to be around everybody in that company is certainly a fun time. And I'm going to try to make it work, see if we can get it to happen.
All righty, fingers crossed. So appreciate the update, Scooter. Now let's talk Scooter's favorite sport. Let's get into some baseball. Game 5 comes to a conclusion last night. Just kind of round table it here. First, let's just start out with our thoughts on the World Series, the 5 games that were played. And then I want to kind of take a look into the future. And is this Dodgers team destined for greatness moving forward? So, Scooter, we'll let you go first, and then we'll hear from Dom, just your overall thoughts on the 2024 World Series.
I thought, other than the other night, I mean, it was dominated by the Dodgers. It was crazy to see. I thought it would be a little bit more close in terms of games won. I thought that, the way the game started last night, that New York was going to pull it out and send it back to L.A., but that Dodger team is so good, and when they get hot offensively, it's very hard to stop. And when you've got guys in that lineup like Freddie Freeman, and what a series Freeman had, too, as well. He was a big reason why they performed so well, but there's so many weapons with Freeman and Ohtani, and there's just so many weapons in that lineup. It's hard to keep them down.
Dom?
Yeah, in general, I thought really last game was the only exciting one. I guess for me personally, because me and you were both Red Sox fans, it was exciting to watch the Dodgers win. I know you said you weren't necessarily cheering for the Dodgers, but you were cheering against the Yankees, which I can attest to that. I'm not a big Dodgers guy, but it was nice to see. I like Freddie Freeman. He seems like a good person overall, and he, I think, obviously carried the Dodgers to the World Series in general. In the World Series itself, it was an exciting. Every time he came to the plate, we were talking to Trent. He was absolutely electric at the plate. Every single time he came up, you were scared as a Yankee pitcher or Yankee fan. You didn't want to see him up. You'd rather see Shohei. He just didn't have it. And doing it all without Shohei really playing to his standards was impressive to see, and it scares me for the future.
Yeah, I definitely think they're set for the future. I mean, look at these 5 games. Obviously, the issue with this New York team, and it was the reason why a lot of people weren't picking to win the series, they're so streaky. You got a lot of hitters in that lineup, whether it be Glaber, Judge, Giancarlo, Rizzo. Really, the only guy who's been consistent, and he's not the biggest name in the lineup and doesn't produce the biggest. He's just, you can rely on him for about a base knock every night, is Alex Verdugo. And, with them getting down like that, the way they did, it was like, man, if the bats wake up, the reverse sweep is not likely, but it is possible because the Yankees can win 4 in a row against anybody. The problem is the Yankees can also lose 4 in a row very easily against anybody. I thought that team was just too streaky. It worked out, got them there, and then finally it came back to bite them in the rear end, and that's why, and we can kind of segue this into the future of the New York Yankees, which I guess we'll get into that first, and then kind of the future of the Dodgers. But looking at the Yankees here, Judge, Cole, Rodon, Giancarlo Stanton, DJ LeMahieu, and Marcus Stroman are the only players who are contracted past the 2025 season. And all those guys are already in their 30s. The Yankees have a huge payroll, but is this working? Is the future really that bright, or is their window closing, which is weird to say because they've only been to one World Series here under this group of players, but I think they're going to have to go out there and get somebody else, a couple more bats. And I'm not saying it's got to be big-name guys, but they just need some more consistency in this lineup. They tried to turn it over heavy going into this season. They got rid of IKF. They got rid of one or two other guys. Obviously they trade for Verdugo to bring in more of a consistent bat. But, like, right now, man, or to both you guys, if I'm a Yankees fan moving forward, like, yeah, you get in the playoffs and they can get hot, but I don't feel confident that they really have what it takes right now.
Is it me going or is it Dom?
Go ahead, Scoot.
I was going to let you go. You went first last time. I was going to let you go first again.
Okay, I like going first, so I'll do that. But no, I mean, as you said, there's so many players that are not contracted, and there's also a lot of players that they could re-sign. Which I think the biggest name there is Juan Soto. He kind of said last night after the game that he's open to all 30 teams in Major League Baseball. But there's so many guys in there that they could re-sign, and of course, Yankees have the money to re-sign a good majority of those players more than likely. But it'll be interesting to see, and there's so many more options out there for players like Juan Soto, where they can go out and get a pretty large contract from somewhere else. And so it'll be interesting to see how they handle the free agency landscape in the winter.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Juan Soto, in my opinion, is gone. I don't know exactly where he's going. My guess is the Mets. I just don't think he's staying with the Yankees after the World Series. That press conference did not look promising if I'm a Yankees fan. But like you said, they have all the money in the world. They are big spenders as well as the Dodgers. So the Yankees, they'll figure a way to, stay in competition, but they really haven't been as dominant as you'd like them to be. Since their World Series in 2009, they haven't been nearly as good as you'd like as a Yankees fan. After spending so much money, you want to go out, win multiple World Series, and unfortunately for them, it hasn't been done. But I think they'll stay in contention no matter who leaves, what contracts they sign. It really doesn't matter for them. They're just so rich.
Yeah, the Yankees will always be competitive. Obviously, no one on this show has seen the Yankees have a losing season, not even 82 losses in any of our lifetimes. Now going over the Dodgers. Look, the Dodgers have made the playoffs every year since 2013. They won a World Series in 2020. A lot of the roster is different from 2020. The worst they've done is getting swept in the DS last year since then. But if you look back at their 2020 roster, Will Smith's still there. Muncie's still there, I think, right? Is Muncie still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah. Kike's still there, but Seeger's gone, Turner's gone, Pullock's gone, Bellinger's gone, Jock Peterson's gone. Okay, Betts is still there. Kenley Jansen's gone. Dustin May's gone. Tony Glosselin is gone. Ross Stripling's gone. So they have Bueller, Urias, Kershaw, who didn't even play. And, pretty much after that, they've got Betts and Kike and Will Smith. So they kind of rebuilt this team without ever getting bad. I mean, like I said, the worst they've done is losing the DS, getting swept last year, and they had a lot of guys go and have been able to stay consistent. And now if you look at the future contracts of this team, Yamamoto through 35, Shohei through 33, Will Smith through 33, Mookie Betts through 32, Glasnow through 28, Freeman through 27, Chris Taylor through 26, as well as Max Muncy. So I think right now the core group of these guys is there. You're going to lose guys to free agency. It's just part of sports in the year 2024. As long as they can get guys back that are equal to the guys that are departing, they've already proved they can do it without ever getting bad. I mean, can the Dodgers put together a dynasty? It's so hard to do nowadays, Scooter, but look, if anybody can do it, man, they are set up for one.
Yeah, they are. And the one thing you have to watch with them is they can't go but so long on some of these contracts going forward because of Shohei's contract with the way that he's deferred money. And I can't remember exactly what year it is that the majority of that money starts kicking in. But that's one thing that they're going to have to watch going forward is long-term contracts. They don't want to butt it up or overlap necessarily for when Shohei starts getting the majority of his money, because then they're not going to have any money left with how much they're going to have to owe him. But they do have some options there, and I still say that the Dodgers are a team to watch for Juan Soto. They have the reputation of signing big players, but again, you've got to look at the deferred money from Shohei Ohtani and see exactly when that matches up when negotiating these contracts going forward.
Oh Lord, if they get Juan Soto as well as everybody else that they have, I really don't think anyone else in the league has a chance. It would be devastating for most other teams, especially in the NL. But speaking about the pitching for the Dodgers, they did it without Ohtani pitching, of course, and then they also did it without, arguably, I would say their best pitcher, Tyler Glasnow. So I think it's really scary for the league with how much money that they can spend before Ohtani's contract, that whole ordeal with how much they spend, like you said, at a certain year. I forget the year. But they can sign players for now, and they always will continue to sign big-time players. But they did all of that without two of their best pitchers. And I think it's tough for anyone to look at this team and think they're not going to be a dynasty.
And the interesting thing, the reason they won is because Kershaw was hurt, and we know how bad he is in the World Series.
Exactly.
So, so interesting we bring up the Soto thing. Teoscar Hernandez was
future Red Sox.
Yeah, future Red Sox, hopefully. $23.5 million this year. Starting outfielder. He's probably gone, right? So now if they keep him, I think that kicks away the Soto possibility. But if he leaves, why not Soto? I mean, he would fit in perfectly. They have a position open. It's the position he plays. I mean, yeah, to Scooter's point and then to Dom's point, look, they gave him a 10-year deal, talking about Shohei, where for the 10 years he's actually playing, they're going to pay him $2 million a year, which, probably has him living in a cardboard box in L.A., $2 million a year, but then he's going to make $68 million a year for the next 10 years. But you're obviously paying some guys now because you got Yamamoto, you got Will Smith, obviously got Mookie, you got Freddie. But I mean, no reason you can't sign Soto, who's only 26, I think. Yeah, 26, just turned 26 last week, to even a 5-year deal. I mean, and then you're set. And look, dynasties are something we haven't talked about in a while. We're talking about one with the Kansas City Chiefs now. Hopefully for Dom and our Celtics, we'll be having this conversation soon. You're not seeing anybody in the NHL. You haven't seen an MLB dynasty since the Yankees of the 90s. I guess you could argue those Giants teams that did win 3 in 5 years, but it just didn't feel quite like a dynasty. It just felt like their pitching was unstoppable in the World Series. So, guys, I mean, watch out. And I can't stand the Dodgers. The only way I pull for the Dodgers is they're playing the Yankees. So, anybody saying, "Oh, Pilk's biased, he must be a Dodger fan." No, I hate the Dodgers. But yeah, this is scaring me moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. I see me as a Braves fan, you got to worry about them in the playoffs most of the years, and to your point too, I'm not a Dodgers fan at all, but it is cool to see them win. Clayton McCullough, first base coach for the Dodgers, who's from Greenville, played at East Carolina, got him a ring last night. But yeah, I mean, that was one thing that with this World Series, it was either going to be Yankees Dodgers, or you were going to have the upset come through, and you're going to have someone. Maybe like a Detroit that snuck through because they were hot, or a Mets who snuck through because they were hot. It was going to be an interesting draw depending on who got in there, and it wasn't. You don't have your typical kind of fan favorite come through if the Yankees or Dodgers don't make it, but you also get turned off a little bit if you're a baseball fan because you're like, okay, I hate the Dodgers or I hate the Yankees. That's sort. So it was definitely interesting, and I'm curious what the viewership numbers will be from this year's World Series whenever that gets released.
I mean, big market teams, so I imagine they did get some good viewership, although the games weren't the most exciting in the world until the last one. But to your point about the NL, the Mets, I believe, put up a great fight, went 6 games with them, and the Padres were up 2-1 against them. So the Dodgers, they could have easily, went away from what they were doing and lost to the Padres. They were down 2-1. Could have choked it against the Mets. The Mets were putting up a great fight. And that against the Yankees, they looked the best. And I think the AL looked pretty weak compared to the NL. And I really think the Dodgers, because of that, might have a chance of losing in the playoffs before they get to the World Series. But if they do get to the World Series against teams in the AL, I believe they'll dominate.
Yes, fair enough. And, I want to go back to something that Scooter, were you about to say something? Sorry, it sounded like I heard something.
No, I was not. Go ahead.
Okay. So I want to go back to something Scooter brought up and everybody being mad about the Dodgers and the Yankees because it's, there we saw the comparisons, right? They were old world leaders who were, not liked. They're being compared to. But last year, everybody was complaining, oh, my goodness. We're watching the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks shouldn't even have made the playoffs. This sucks. Neither one of these teams are that good. So we have the Cinderellas, and everybody's ticked off. And now we get Goliath against Goliath and the biggest 2 market teams ever, and everybody's still ticked off. What do baseball fans want? What do you guys want? I mean, obviously we want our teams in it, but, I think it's fun when it's kind of like, yeah, I can't stand these 2 teams, but it was fun to see. I mean, there had never been a Dodgers-Yankees World Series in any of our lifetimes. That's not the case for everybody. But last year you did have the small market teams, hey, this team's finally going to win one for the first time in what would have been 22 years for the D-backs, or the first time ever in the Rangers case. And then, with this year, it's like it's the exact opposite, and that kind of keeps it fun. At least it's not the same thing every year. I don't know. Am I getting too mad? But it seems like nobody's happy no matter who's in the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, I think to a certain degree that is the case. I think that it maybe would have been more receptive to it. And, of course, you can't determine this before the series starts, but if this World Series might have been a little bit closer in terms of, the way the series went, I think that it would have been much better perceived. But and that's kind of the feeling I had going into it. I was like, okay, this is definitely going to be a series where it goes 6 or 7 games, and the Dodgers just ended up dominating except for the one night. And so, it is cool to on one hand to see the kind of the old ones, the old teams of the Dodgers and Yankees square off. But on my end, I love to see the underdog come through. And it looked like that might have been the Mets this year. The Tigers had a chance to do that as well. And I think, too, it just depends on the year as well. And, there was obviously some teams out there that could have done that this year in the playoffs, but, it ended up being the big dogs that got through and got to the World Series this year.
You can ask William. We were talking about it before the World Series started. I actually called the 4-1 Dodgers victory, which I know you may not believe, but I might have been a little biased because I really wanted the Dodgers to win. So I was just saying 4-1, but it did end up coming true. And it's a point we haven't made yet, but it was Mookie Betts who hit the game-winning sacrifice fly, and then Alex Verdugo who recorded the final out for the Yankees. So 2 Red Sox players helping out the Dodgers win the World Series over the New York Yankees.
Oh, my goodness. I love tying in our side. I was thinking about when Verdugo hit the 2-run shot in Game 3 at the end. And it was like whenever Betts says, yeah, there's 2 guys we've traded away. Thanks, Heim Bloom. I mean, I guess he didn't trade away Alex Verdugo, but, I think what baseball fans really want, they want David and Goliath. Like, they wanted it to have been the Yankees and the D-backs one year and then, like, the Rangers and the Dodgers the next year. So you always have somebody to root for instead of 2 Cinderellas and 2 Giants maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, Scooter, do you have anything else? Because if not, we've already taken 20 minutes of your time, as you do have a real 9-to-5 job now, and you're not just at our disposal whenever we want you like you used to be, which Michael Buscemi, the producer of Talk of the Town, has repeatedly complained about how much harder his life is now that Scott Rogers is no longer here.
Well, if there had been maybe some other opportunities in Greenville down in the future, that I'd still be there, But hey, I mean, life works sometimes. But no, I mean, this is the only thing I'll add is that this is the first time I've come on since Mike Houston was fired with football coach situation, and so it was certainly a shock. I was texting back and forth with y'all that morning when it happened, and texting through y'all's coverage of that whole day with the press conference and when the news broke and everything, which was outstanding because it was great to be able to be 7 hours away and feel like I was still in Greenville right in the middle of it. But the only thing I'll add to it was it needed to be made, I think, just from a donor perspective, from an NIL perspective, from just a wins and loss perspective is the biggest thing there too. But excited to see what Blake Harrell can do here to finish the season, get these guys to a bowl game. And, if he goes 4-1, 5-0 the end of the year, you win a bowl game, Blake Harrell deserves an absolute legitimate shot at this job. Yes, there's some bigger names out there that are interested in terms of coordinators and former head coaches as well, but for someone to step in an interim role and possibly go 4-1, 5-0, 6-1, 6-0 is still on the table. If you can include a bowl game to finish the year, Blake Harrell absolutely should deserve a legitimate shot at this job if one of those scenarios happen.
I agree. You're not going to hear any arguments here. I love Blake as a coach and as a person. I would love for him and he and his family and all the families who are on the part of the ECU coaching staff to get to stay in Greenville. Well, thanks for your time, Scooter, and we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday night when you get into town.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it, guys. I'll stop by the studio and bug Dom for a few minutes.
Yeah, great to talk to you. Wait, we got to tell him before you leave about what you did about my gambling problem in quotation marks.
Oh, my goodness.
What was that? What did I do?
I was going to let Philip tell it, but anyways, I walked in, and Jana comes over with some news that she has to talk to me. I go into her office, and she has a 1-800-GAMBLING number to call the Gamblers Anonymous, or what would you call it, the Gamblers number?
Gambling hotline.
Gambling hotline, because apparently everyone here thinks I have a problem when I don't.
Yeah, and we think that Scooter started that rumor one down the street. He thinks Joe started. Scooter, did you start that or Joe start it? Because I had thought you had
I think it was a combination of both of us.
Okay. It was like the week that gambling became legal, and Scooter just like told this whole rumor to Greenville that Dom had a gambling problem. Thanks, Scooter. But hey,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You don't know it's a problem until you're confronted with it, Dom.
Okay. I don't know if you can be talking, but all right. We're not going to air this out.
Oh, my goodness.
If you need assistance, you can call the Rizzler, and he can give you some advice.
We need to get a break. I appreciate this, but it is 40 minutes into this program. We've taken over. Thanks, Scooter.
Yep, absolutely. See you guys next week.
All right, see you, bud. All right, we're going to take a timeout, and Dom and I are going to argue about the NFL on the other side. This is the Thursday edition of the Patrick Johnson Show.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227. Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Riding shotgun with you on the drive home.
It's showtime.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into the Thursday edition of the Patrick Johnson Show. Philip and Dom filling in for the P-Man. The P-Man has a busy day. And leading you in to the Logan Zone, we just met with Scott Rogers. Got a little update on what's going on with him, as well as talked a little baseball. And now we're going to transition to the gridiron to kind of get you ready for the Logan Zone tonight. Texans at Jets. Texans 6-2. They did have to put Stephon Diggs on the IR this week, and the Jets are 2-6 and favored. Is this the Aaron Rodgers effect that Vegas just is not going to make the Jets dogs at home, or does Stephon Diggs make that much of a difference, Dom?
I think Diggs does make a big difference. I think them only having Tank Dell right now with Nico Collins out, I think if Collins is playing, they might be the favorites, but it does make a big difference only having Tank Dell, who hasn't looked like himself. His rookie year, he looked a lot better than he has, which I get, playing against or below another receiver, going all the way down to wide receiver 3 on the depth chart, maybe not getting as many targets as you would like. It does have to hurt your confidence a bit. But I still can't believe that the Jets are favored. They just have not looked good. They can't beat anyone. Every game they're in is close. One against the Vikings was close. Last week against the Patriots was close. They just can't seem to finish games. Rodgers doesn't look like himself. I just don't know how you favor them. Are they the home team, I take it?
Yeah, it's in New Jersey, yeah.
Okay, so that's the only reason I can see that they're favored is because they're the home team.
Well, they may be favored, but no one wants to watch them play. There are tickets on Vivid Seats for, you want to take a guess what the cheapest ticket is, Dom?
Let me say $12.
Ding, ding, ding. Were you
no
cheating?
way. No, on my life.
You cheating jerk.
On my life. I'm looking at the Vikings schedule and the Colts schedule. On my life, I said that's out of nowhere.
$12. for an NFL game. What was this, a Panthers game? $12?
I mean, to see Aaron Rodgers and C.J. Stroud,
Exactly.
that's not bad. I guess maybe it's Halloween. Could be the case.
Oh, yeah, all the kids want to go trick-or-treating.
Like, no one's really going to watch Aaron Rodgers on Halloween. I mean, that is kind of scary to have to watch him in his washed era, but still.
Hey, I mean, it is kind of a costume, right? He's wearing number 8. I get that's what he wore in college, but it's still weird to see him in 8. I could picture him more even in 12, but I guess 12 must be retired by the Jets for Broadway Joe, right?
I guess so. If he's not, I mean, he's a diva, so he'd get what he want if he could.
True. I don't know. Yeah. It's weird. But anyways, that's what's going on tonight.
Who do you have winning that game?
I have not done my picks yet, which I'm glad you reminded me because I got to get ready for the Logan Zone. I got to get my picks in. Everybody's doubting the Texans. C.J. Stroud's going to flex on them. Give me the Texans. What about you?
As much as I just said, I don't think the Jets should be favored because with the way the records are looking and the way the teams have been playing, I don't think they should. But I do think that they're going to win, for one, like you said, they're at home. But I also think the Texans haven't looked as good as you'd hope with how much they've added. And like I said, or like you said, they're out Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins and Stroud. You know, people have him as top 5 right now, but he really hasn't looked as good as he did last year, in my opinion.
I've been waiting for the sophomore slump, and to your point, he doesn't look as good, but like they're still 6-2. Like,
exactly. You can't. No one's hating on them because they're 6-2, but I really don't think that they're the best 6-2 team. They're not like a gauntlet team. I'm gonna go look at their schedule. A lot of their games have been close, and that
against their crappy division.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's $22 getting into the Panthers game.
Oh, wow.
To watch Bryce Young play. It sounds like it's going to be Derek Carr, not Spencer Rattler, but still.
Won by 4 against Jacksonville, lost by 2 to Green Bay, and won by 3 against the Colts. And that's with Anthony Richardson. It's not the most dominant performances.
Yeah. Speaking of Anthony Richardson and teams with only 2 losses, 2 different teams I'm talking about, but Anthony Richardson has been benched, and your Vikings, who are 5-2, not 6-2, but 5-2, have already had a bye. Sunday Night Football live from Minnesota. My mom and sister will be driving back to Minnesota because they're flying in and out of Minneapolis. Don't know why. To drive 4 hours to go to Lambeau, but whatever. To watch Lions-Packers, which is going to be a great game Sunday afternoon. They might be able to get back to Minneapolis in time to catch the end. How are you feeling about your Vikings as a whole on a 2-game skid and your Sunday night game? You got about 6 minutes, so take it away.
Oh, I'm not talking for 6 minutes, but I am a bit nervous. There's this fly that keeps coming into the camera. I keep looking at it, but I am a bit nervous for the Colts game with Joe Flacco coming in. It's just the last 2 weeks, Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford have eaten up our defense. They've throwing the ball all over our cornerbacks. We've got no pressure against opposing teams' offensive lines. And it's like the old white QBs that just are good against our blitz. They know how to do it against Brian Flores. And, if we were playing Anthony Richardson, who has one of the worst completion percentages of all time to start their career, I was really expecting a win. We were going to blitz the living crap out of him. We were going to give him trouble. He'd probably get a good amount of rush yards, but it wasn't going to kill us. But now Joe Flacco is going to sit in the pocket. If his offensive line holds up, I guarantee that it's going to be a close game and it's going to be a high-scoring affair. And it's because Blake Cashman has been out the past 2 weeks. We haven't been able to stop the run. We are getting T.J. Hawkinson back on offense, so that should help our offense. It's been a long time coming. He tore his ACL last year because of dirty Kirby Joseph on the Lions. Not a fan. But a lot can be fixed. 2 losses in a row is not the end of the world. Like you said earlier, it is a skid, but I don't think we're slipping. I think we're fine. I think we go out and win this game as much as Joe Flacco does scare me more than Anthony Richardson. I think we go out, win the game 6-2, show out on Sunday Night Football, prime time. Sam Darnold shows that he is competent enough. Some people still don't believe in him. I think he holds on to the ball a little too long, but I think he's good enough. I think he's a top 15 QB this year, and that should be well enough with our weapons, especially getting Hawkinson back. And there we go. Score prediction, 27-33, Vikings win.
All right, so he's taking the over the 46.5, and he's taking the Vikings -5 as well, as he's got him a 6-point lead. So what I'm hearing, as long as Mono Man doesn't have another mono flare-up between now and Sunday night, Dom's feeling good about his Vikings. But we do have to do the due diligence to the fans here and not just talk about your team, but talk about what is the biggest game of the week. And I'm still going to let you talk about it because it's the two teams that you probably hate the most. So 425, Fox, game of the week. And Tom Brady on the call. Woo. The new owner of the Los Angeles Raiders. 6-1 Lions at the 6-2 Packers. Maybe no Jordan Love. So if that happens, obviously we know what's going to happen, and that is they will not be able to score on that Lions defense despite no Aiden Hutchinson. But let's just say everybody plays, everybody's healthy. What are you feeling here, Dom?
Everybody plays. If Jordan Love is playing, I still think the Lions will go out and win, but obviously it gives the Packers a much better shot with Jordan Love. I'm not the biggest Jordan Love believer. I think he throws a little too many passes off his back foot in hopes of making a big play. I've heard some comparisons of like sometimes he goes out there as prime Aaron Rodgers and sometimes he goes out there as wash Brett Favre, where he just throws way too many stupid interceptions. So it really depends. If Jordan Love plays, what Jordan Love do you get out there? If you get the Jordan Love that throws like Aaron Rodgers in between tight pockets and gets Romeo Doubs and Jaden Reed going, I think they can make it a close game. But the Lions are just so dominant on offense. I think if the Lions go up early at any point, especially without Jordan Love, that the game will get out of hand fast. And the Lions' defense, even without Hutchinson, has actually looked pretty impressive coming in. Their defensive line looking good even without him.
They are. The only thing that worries me is no Aiden Hutchinson is if who's going to pressure Mahomes if he gets to the Super Bowl.
Let's just hope Mahomes doesn't get to the let's hope neither of these teams get to the Super Bowl. That's like my living nightmare.
It's like me with the World Series this past week.
Yeah, that's not fun either. But I don't know. Seeing Mahomes and then the Lions in the Super Bowl, that would hurt my heart.
Buccaneers at Chiefs Monday night.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, Mahomes is, he hasn't had to be good. He hasn't been good, not because he's been bad, but like this is probably the worst year of his career statistically because they're running the ball and like they just haven't needed him to drop back. It's like they're saving his arm for the playoffs. Like a pitcher, they're just like letting him go out there and throw 4 innings. Like, yeah, we'll save you for October.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Bucs were healthy, I'd say maybe they can pull off the upset and finally give them a loss. But I'm not giving the Bucs a shot without Godwin and Evans.
Yeah, with both of them out, I don't think they have a shot either. As much as I enjoy watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, but Mahomes having more interceptions than touchdown passes, it doesn't impress with how he's looked in past years. And I think he's had a little bit of interception luck in his career where a lot of players have dropped interceptions against him. I think it's running out a little bit. Even though they're 7-0, I don't know if I believe in them that much. Maybe I'm just a hater. I do like their run defense. That's the biggest thing I like about the Chiefs is their run defense. But I've never liked Mahomes.
Yeah, interesting stat. The leading receiver playing in this contest will be Cade Otton with 344 yards,
wow.
Most yards of any active player for the either roster heading into this game.
More than Kelsey?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Kelsey's not had a good year. I paid him $20 million over 1 year in fantasy and Dynasty League, and I'm regretting it. All righty. Well, we got 45 seconds left in the show, so that will do it for our Halloween edition, as we hope that you stay tuned in to the I Told You to Play Halloween music. What the heck? Why are we playing this? Dang it, Dom.
You are correct. You did tell me to do that.
You had one job. I think that's a segment on like Monday Night Football or SportsCenter or something. We're putting Dom Kasulki on. You had one job. It's Halloween, Dom. Darn it. And we want to thank Dom, even though we messed up the music. We want to thank Scooter for joining us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks to the P-Man for letting us fill in. P-Man will be back tomorrow with Joey Football. Also, Chris Hughes from Carolina Preps as we get ready for the playoffs for high school football. Stay tuned for the Logan Zone. That's next.
It's time to switch out that old ride and save on a new Toyota. Switch out your current vehicle and get cash on the spot. Then save on a new Corolla for just $229 a month or a Highlander for only $409 a month. Switch and save at Greenville Toyota.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed